As you know, Metaverse HQ is known for product testing many different tools and apps and platforms. And Catchment was really one of those early platforms that we kind of product tested, and we gave a lot of feedback. And it's become quite the tool, and everybody knows about it. Everybody needs it, and it's something that was matching the product market fit. So without further ado, I'll give the mic over to Ralle, and yeah, just tell us a little bit about your history and about Catchment.
Hey guys, it's actually GM for me, but I'm presuming that it's like in the evening for most of you guys. Thanks for tuning in. And before I go on to explain how our team started working on Catchment, maybe I'll try to give a little bit of background about myself and our team and what we had actually been doing even before Catchment. So our team is based out of South Korea. We're a team of 5 developers, and we had been working together on average for 2.5 years. There's some guys who have been working together for almost 4 years, and some of the new people have worked for about a year or so. So on average, it's like 2.5 years. But before Catchment, we had been like building different apps, web services, mostly in Web 2 from 2019 to 20 the latter part of 2020, and we launched 3 different products. One was a live streaming shopping app for girls, like where they could video stream what they are wearing and share with their friends and try to sell those clothes. And the other one was a K beauty aggregator app, because that was when all these K-pop K beauty things started kicking off, and we aggregated like the cosmetics from Korea and trying to sell abroad. And the last part was a dating app, because we were running out of cash maybe after 2 years, and we thought that the only app that makes instant money is either games or a dating app. So we started working on dating app. That was when uh, NBA Top Shot came out, and we thought that as a startup, you should be building in a space that is small right now, maybe less competitive, but that's going to be a big that's going to get really huge in the next 2 or 3 years. So we saw the opportunities in NFTs through NBA Top Shot. Although we didn't actually trade the NBA Top Shot, we thought that we should start working on NFTs. So in 2021, like from January, I think we started working on this minting platform for YouTubers, where you can convert your videos into a NFT with 1 or 2 clicks and try to sell them or gift them to your subscribers. And unfortunately, that didn't work as well. So we had a record of five, actually 4 straight failed products before I got into actually trading NFTs and through MGHQ. So maybe it was I think it was around like June 2021 when our team decided to stop actually building and try to actually start trading NFTs, because I think it was around when like board rates were trading around zero point 0.5 ETH or something like that. And honestly, our team couldn't understand why. So the way maybe the exact was something like, well, we don't understand why all these people from outside of Korea trading these stupid monkey images for, I don't know, maybe something like $500 or something like that. And we never understood that, so we thought that why not give it a shot? And the reason we were trying failing products was because we were trying to build something that we don't understand. So we started trading, and maybe about a 2 month after trading, I got into MVHQ, and that was a little bit of history before me in MVHQ.
That's amazing. So I actually had no idea about that. So you guys were building a dating app, and you then moved on to create what is now Catchment. But I know that you've been working on Catchment for quite some time. So what was the point that you kind of decided, okay, this is something that is needed, but haven't seen it in the market yet? Like, what was the pivot that kind of sparked the idea to start building the platform and start product testing, building your team, all that good stuff?
I don't think there was a single moment that really sparked the idea. So, like I said, I think I got into MVHQ maybe around like August 2021, maybe a couple of months after the first like MVHQ token minted. Was it 2020? I'm getting confused. Maybe I think it was 2021. Um,
Yeah,
roughly
our
about
token minted. I want to say August or it was July, 2021.
yeah, so maybe a month or two after it minted or something. So I got into MVHQ. So we actually stopped building anything because the market was so good, and you know there's nothing like that gets you really hooked than like making money. So it was really profitable, and we like all of our team really traded like 10 to 12, and I don't know, maybe 15 hours a day, waking up to the US friendly minting schedules. So maybe I think we traded for roughly nearly full time. We were still like discussing ideas what to build, but we were like trading for roughly about 6 months. And as a developer, especially when it was really early, it was really there was huge advantage trying to trade. Maybe it's not. I think the game, the trading and everything, flipping, and trading, buying, selling, it got much more fair compared to what it was like maybe a year ago, because a lot of these new tools came out. But before those tools, uh, you know, developers who could code and who could automate things had a huge advantage. So we tried to leverage that. So we built some modules, and the trading and minting and those kind of thing automating was pretty good. But there came a point that so there came a point when like just the automation part wasn't good enough because we kept on failing to discover new exciting mints that were popping up every day. For example, I remember like even for Zuki, I think like even when I was in MVHQ, you know, I don't think there was a lot of discussion right before Azuki dropped. I think most of the discussions and hype came immediately after, or maybe during the drop, and that was why I didn't even bother to stay up. And I actually missed the Azuki drop because it wasn't as hyped as you guys might have think. Like in voice chat, there were a couple of like people saying, "Oh, there is this interesting drop," but it wasn't like a hugely like expected drop. If my memory serves me right, and so we had difficulties trying to find opportunities with the NFT mints, and that was when we thought that maybe if there was a tool that could really automate like the discovery phase, not the actual like minting and sending transaction thing, that could be interesting. So we started working on those ideas maybe for about 2 or 3 months before we rolled it out in production.
Yeah, I mean, before it was just like a very obscure way to find these projects. Like, right, you either get it from word of mouth, like somebody just dropping it in Discord. You either catch it on secondary after it's minted out, or you had these older tools like Moby that would be tracking. But at the time, it was just not as competitive as it is right now in terms of having the fire hose of mints coming in and making sure that you're catching everything that's going on in the market, right?
Yeah, and one of the other things that I really didn't like was probably my something to do with my setup. So I was carrying my laptop most of the time. Like I tried to code in like Starbucks and coffee shops, and that was when I had just had one monitors. But the problem was that I had to keep up. Maybe this is still the case, but if you're really serious into like trading NFTs, then you have to keep a lot of tabs up, like OpenSea tools, like bots and everything, and even Discord. So it was really frustrating, like having to constantly like switch between tabs and programs. So we thought that maybe if we could really fit in everything, all those like and scrape the data that you would typically find on different um, different websites or platforms into one like single UI, that would be uh, that would be I can't think of the right English word for it, but that would make life much easier. So we started working on that idea.
Yeah, quality of life updates. Yeah, which are a lot prevalent now, right? Like you have the flagging system that has been amazing, following notable groups. All these small features really attribute to a bigger part of the entire platform, right? If they're singled out, obviously you wouldn't think about them in the way that they can be used. But it's amazing just being able to be in Discord and somebody else is following a notable group that they trust, and the project is flagged. Then you can tell your community like, hey, I saw that somebody flagged this. I'd think twice before minting that. All right, just helping each other be safer in the space, and still be able to mint fast, right? Like especially I really like the code that you guys have for the smart contract towards the bottom, as well as the automation integration for different bots. Like, that's not something that I see often with other types of product. So, it's incredible to see all the features that you've been able to fit into one specific sector of the screen, right?
Yeah, and with Catchment, what we want to do is that we want to like integrate other tools that you mentioned that, because there's just like too many tools, and I don't think there's going to be a it's going to be a winner takes it all like kind of market. And there right now, what I think is missing from the market from a user's perspective is that there's just too many tools that you want to use, and there isn't any like seamless integration between those tools. So maybe we could try to do that, provide that experience, because like you said, Poppy. Right now, we're from Catchment. You can like launch different like minting bots, but I think that's like the natural step forward. So we don't have like plans right now to like build automations tools ourselves, even though we can like technically, but we have no plans for that, because I think that's a very different category in the market, and we don't really want to compete with them. So we want to collaborate with them, and that's the kind of experience that we want to provide to our users. If they have like multiple bots or multiple like tools, it should be like switching between them should be like seamless. You don't have to like make a lot of clicks.
Yeah, I agree. And, it's incredible being able to see different partnerships unfold and be integrated into one platform. Right? Like you can have your preference whether you love Thunder or you love Sensei or Waifu, you name it, right? Just being able to integrate with whatever you feel comfortable with on a platform that, just serves a different purpose, right? Like as you said, you're not providing services in terms of tools or automation, but you're providing a platform where these other teams can collaborate with you and make it more seamless for everyone, right? Whether they prefer a specific platform over the other, and it we've seen it a lot that teams try to create these mega tools or tool suites, and they try to become the best at everything, but then you lose your specialization, right? Like somebody's going to end up beating you, whether it's on volume tracking or whether it's on automation or tracking mints. Like obviously you can't do it all, right? So it is very important that you're staying true to what it is you want to deliver. I think that's what made you very successful in the long run.
Yeah, thanks for the nice words. Yeah, yeah. So like I said, yeah, we don't really want to like go into wars with these tools, especially the secondary like tools, because there are so many tools that people can choose from. So we really want to focus down on what we do best, and really sharpen our like competitive advantages instead of like going into other territories and maybe make our like value proposition less obvious. Anyways, yeah, so that was like my answer to that.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about you starting your own product and how to gain traction, right? Like, how do you use the feedback to improve your platform? What's a way that we can all kind of source what the market needs? Like, what was your way of finding out that the market needs this, and how can I deliver that, right? And then, like, as you're delivering it, like, the feedback, where does it fit, right? Like, you can obviously take the constructive criticism, but what feedback is the best to kind of survey?
Uh, yeah. So when we like were building in the building phase, I think it was early 2020. We weren't like 100% sure that if this is going to be like if people will like it, because we had felt so many different products, and even when we were pretty confident that people are going to use it, it didn't work out that way. So when we were building Catchment, we tried to be really lean. So I think it was around like late May or early June when I started showing like people, mostly if not all from MVHQ. A couple of people, I think, maybe around like 5 to 10 people that I, met in person through going to like NFT NIC and those kind of events. And it was really like simple, like it wasn't like really maybe it didn't have as many features as we do have right now. Maybe it was just about like the collection metadata page in the middle on top with names and the max apply and those kind of thing. We didn't even have the flaggings and those collaborative features. We had the metadata and the notable groups section and the maybe the smart contract part, and maybe that was it. And on the like left and right, we have the mint overview and the live feed. So it was very simple. And when I showed it, the screenshot, people said, "Oh, this looks interesting." And it was. I don't think people were particularly like, "Wow, this is going to be like huge success," and everyone's going to use it. But when I showed the screen capture of our like mock-up of our design, people seem to be pretty okay with it. So at least they didn't hate it. So we started working on it and maybe rolled out the beta maybe in 2 months. And that was when I like actually shared the link to the beta, and people from MBHQ seemed to like it. So we got a little bit confident, and then we thought that it was worth spending our time on, and launched maybe in about 2 to 3 months. So I think maybe it's just me, but the way I'd like to think about is that I and our team have a very soft spot for MVHQ because, like you said right early on in the discussion, Papi, that MVHQ as a community test a lot of different tools and a lot of like other products, but that we think I'd like to argue that we might be a little different because I think literally like Catchment is a product that actually spawned out of like MVHQ, if that makes sense, because like I had been like actually in MVHQ before building Catchment, so I've been pretty active a community member like for maybe almost a year before we started working on Catchment, and most of the like product ideas, even without the feedback, got I got from my experience trading with the guys and the people here at MVHQ. So yeah, so it's not like I built a product and came to MVHQ to ask for help. So it was like the other way around, and everything felt so natural. And the last part is that people have been so helping and so generous with their feedback and everything. So that is something that I can't say thank you enough.
I got to clip that. That was like unbelievable. um, Thank you for the kind words. I mean, I'm I just can't believe like the amazing success that you've had, right? Like it's very well deserved. Um, we're very fortunate that you decided to come back to MVHQ with this product from the get, right? Like you, even though providing it to a few members just to start getting like that initial feedback before you want to present it to everyone, because I get it. It is very daunting when you have a product that you've been working on for quite some time, and once it's out there, right? Um, so back to the question that we started with, how to gain that initial traction. I guess the answer to that would be, you know, making sure that the people that you go to have the type of feedback and experience on the the market sector that you're trying to target, right? As you mentioned, I'm sure that I remember it was Jake and Bake, one of the first few people that I heard about the platform that you were building from. So, seeing other people talk about your product and, mentioning great things about it is important, right? It gets other people interested, it gets the ball rolling, and, it also provides you feedback into, all right, maybe we are ready to push this along and move forward with it.
Yeah, so we got specifically to that question. Yeah, I think it's very important that especially your early users, or even if they're not using it, especially the early people that you're talking to, should have enough experience and expertise in the field that you're trying to target. I think that's very important. Thanks for pointing that out. So when I was getting the feedback that people from MBHQ and the members were providing like product ideas that we didn't even think about, and still like was very like worth it. And there were a couple of features. I'm trying to think of like a specific like case for that. Maybe I'm too old. I have a like memory of a goldfish, but there were definitely some features that came from like our talks with the members. And the second part is that I think this is maybe like the undervalued part of NVHQ, because I've been like in MVHQ for so long that I took it for granted, but I didn't really expect how fast we would like have our traction, because right off the bat we had a lot, thousands of people using Catchment, and it was all because we didn't do any marketing, but because like if somebody from MVHQ likes it and they start talking about it, they have enough influence in different groups and even on Twitter and those kind of things. So if people from MVHQ likes it, I think I'm pretty like sure that your product is going to be at least like the word of mouth is going to like spread quickly in the NFT ecosystem. So that is one thing that I didn't really expect. So just by having people use like our platform from MVHQ and talking about it in voice chat, everything spread so quickly. So I think actually when we were like, I think I was discussing this with Mitch. So we weren't like prepared to go like fully public. So we were just trying to like see like how we were going to like beta test it. So we didn't even have like the gating feature or login feature like in late June when things like really picked up. So we were preparing for that, and we just shared the link in MVHQ, and within a couple of days, maybe 3 or 4 days, like we had thousands of people using it without us actually knowing how that is possible. So we were looking at this thing called the mix panel, where you can track the metrics, very basic like usage data about your platform, and we were getting numbers that we hadn't seen like before. So we weren't like 100% like sure whether this is something like whether this is actually happening or whether it is something a bug or something. So we didn't like code it right in the like product, that we were getting like wrong numbers. So that was a really funny, but at the same time, really like exciting experience for us.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't like from my perspective, right? I was working with the social release of your beta platform, like when you released the private beta. And at the time your account was DJman. And the
Yeah.
The social awareness was not at the point that it is now, right? And I remember when we co-tweeted the official announcement of, we are going to be doing a private beta with MVHQ for an extended period. I remember to this day like how much that blew up, just to the point where, like, when that period ended, like everyone was talking about, like, oh, we just got access to Catchment. And I was like, wow. So like it really like opened the floodgates as soon as you open the beta, to everyone. So could you share a little bit about how that felt, and how you kind of navigated through all the partnerships and opportunities that came after the closed beta? Am I rugged? Did we lose Ral?
Oh, yep. Am I back?
Yep, got you.
Oh, yeah. So, I don't know where I got lost, but I tried to start again. So we were right at the beginning. We were preparing for like closed beta with MVHQ, maybe for I think it was for 2 weeks, or maybe for a month. And when that was done, that created a lot of like FOMO and hype. And we were getting like requests from around 300 Discord groups for doing that kind of partnership. And it was overwhelming. And we didn't expect that. We don't, as of now, we don't have any like marketing, and we're just like focused on building the product. And like, I'd say like MVHQ did most of the marketing for us. And, for that, again, I'm really grateful. And honestly, I don't think we would have been as like successful as we are now without MVHQ. Thanks everyone. No, Papi, Rich, and the team, and everyone, and the members.
Thank you, sir. Literally created one of the best tools out. Yeah, I want to start jumping a little bit into a product demo. Would love if you could just walk us through, how you see Catchment and how you use it. How would you recommend us to interact with the platform as well?
Let me share the screen. Give me a sec. While I'm spawning up my.
I think you got rugged there. What'd you say?
Can you see? Can you see the screen share?
It's loading up right now for me, but yeah, I think people should be good to go.
Yeah, I don't think it's just Ralle. I think Discord's just rugging us all from time to time.
Yeah, I can't tell.
This is a catchment. If you can see the screen, so on the right, we have the live feed of the mints happening in real time on Ethereum, and on the left, we have the mints overview. So when we were like building this thing, the kind of settings that we were like thinking of about like the real like pro hardcore traders was that they typically have like multiple monitors set up at home. So in the middle, most of the time they talk with we talk with within the community that we're a part of in Discord, and on the left or maybe on the right, we have another like secondary or third monitor, with other tools and everything. So what we want to make sure was that you are able to catch something that is happening even on the periphery of your like vision. So for example, even something is popping up on the like on the very like right side of your like the vision, then you should still be able to catch it. So that's why we decided to add this animations in the live feed. And if something's like minting really fast, the speed of these like animations vary, so you will be able to notice something is like there's something going on, even if you're not really paying like 100% of your attention to it. So that's what we were trying to build. And so we have these like different time frames where you can see the ranks, how many things have minted. And on the right we have the live mints, and you can actually filter them with the price. And if you're just interested in like in free NFT free drops, you can click on these filters, like free only, like verified means that these are typically the contracts that you can actually mint, and you can decide to exclude the airdrops. And we have the pin where you can click on it and see, for example, if you're just interested in this mint of a specific collection, you can pin it, and after you pin it, then you will only be exposed to mints of that specific collection you're looking at. And in the middle, we have like the metadata, and you can you can search through Google Lens to see if like there is a very similar arts, on on the internet. So to trying to gauge if this is a stolen art or not. And we have these like quick links, typically the tools that you would use when you're trading NFTs, and gives you like the contract whether like some checks whether the contract is verified, and shows you the types of the code. So the way I'd like typically use when I'm trying to mint and trying to find the minting opportunities is that I see the live mints and see the ranks, and normally obviously I click on the collections that are popular recently, or something that is minting fast, and if I go try to check them, I see how much have been minted. So typically people pay attention when something has a collection has minted more than 70 to 80%, unless they are like super like bullish on them, maybe if they are by a very well-known artist, or like I don't know, maybe like Bored Apes another drop, then you don't have to wait to see the progress. But if this is like a degen mint, then some like random like free mint that you think are going to be like profitable, you typically try to get in when it's about to mint out. So you look at the progress. Right now that we have the question mark about the supply, because the contracts, they like use different like namings, so there isn't a very set naming convention for like max supply variables. So sometimes we're not picking them up, but we're trying to really optimize on that going forward as well. And we recently rolled out these pending transaction features, where you can see how many like meaningful pending transactions are there are out of like all these total numbers, because sometimes creators try to send fake pending transactions to make it look like there is a lot of demand, but those fake transactions that are sent way below like the base fee, they don't get minted. So we gives you an option to see how many like real like meaningful transactions have been sent. And this is probably the part that people most like about, is that you can follow like notable groups in NFT community and see how many they have minted and how many have been actually airdropped to those wallets, because there are collections who try to game the system and make it look like airdrop their tokens to like well-known influencers or groups to make it look like that those people have actually minted, where in reality it's just an airdrop. So you can see those kind of things in the middle as well. And here is all the transactions, and we have them listed by quantity and the time. So you'll be able to see like all different types of transactions in real time, and you can just copy it and mint either like directly through MetaMask, or if you have like a automation bot set up, and if you are like paid user of those bots, you can, for example, click on one of your bots, for example, like maybe Thunder, because there's a lot of people have been speaking about Thunder. You can turn it on, and if you click on Thunder, then it will launch your Thunder like a bot. So you can launch those tasks from Catchment, and we have the failed transactions because we have this for two reasons. One is that if there is a lot of there are two types of failed transaction. One is execution reverted, and the other one is out of gas. So if a collection has a lot of out of gas failed transactions, it's typically a very bad sign, because that means that the contract code is not really well tested, and the out of gas is the type of failed transactions you should really try to avoid, because there is a potential that you might lose a lot of ETH on the transaction fees. And the other type is execution reverted, and this typically happens either the contract is not really turned on for public mint, or when the collection is minted out. So you can probably use it to gauge how many unrealized demand there was after a very high drop is minted out. There might be thousands, hundreds, or even thousands of failed transactions. For example, the drops like Bored Apes and the really I don't know, the hyped ones. And those failed and unrealized demand, typically people who have a lot of failed transactions trying to mint go to the secondary and try to buy them. So there is a correlation between the number of failed transactions and the secondary activity, especially after a high drop. So that you might want to use it like that. And this is the part people like a lot, because if you are really serious about NFTs, you should always try to mint straight from contract if that's possible, because a lot of scams, especially the drainers and the draining scams, they typically almost always happen on the website. Not the it's very difficult to program that on the smart contract. And even if they did, MetaMask, I think MetaMask pops up these warning messages after the new update, so you will be able to see that. So a lot of draining scams are kind of social engineering on the website. So if you can avoid from going to the website, then things are much safer. So if you can read the minting a function, because a lot of hardcore traders and the serious NFT traders, whether or not they have programming background, they end up learning at least how to read the Solidity code. And if you have a quick look at it, it's not that difficult, because sometimes it sounds more like English, and you can see what the max supply is and how much you are supposed to pay for the contract. And the alpha groups like MVHQ, and there are a lot of other alpha groups who are very good at educating their members how to read and mint from contract. So you should be pretty familiar with that. And anyways, you can have a look at this contract, and if you like the contract and if you feel safe, then you can decide to mint by copying the transaction up here. And the last part is the average entry point and the distribution of the tokens. One thing that we are maybe different from Etherscan regarding the token distribution is that we show you the clustered list of those wallets. So we calculate all these activities between those wallets and trying to cluster them, because people typically have a lot of Bono wallets. So we cluster, for example, if I have 3 wallets, then it's going to show as one wallet in the clustered mode, and you can see the real, if that makes sense, distribution of the holders, whether or not they have minted or used their burners. And the last is market comparison, and I think that's pretty much it about Catchment. And yeah, we're trying to roll out a new feature called like Web3 social news. It's not really picking up traction right now. Maybe it's because I think it was Mitch who like suggested that maybe it's because people are glued to the like the front the UI. They don't bother to go to the news and try to see what is happening. But this is where people can share interesting links about things that are happening in Web3, because this also spawned from my and our team's experience is that we are not really like super into Twitter, and Twitter is the news on Twitter is so scattered. So unless you're not really following somebody, then sometimes you're not exposed to like the news that you want to be exposed to. So we want people to come and collaborate, share those links, and have a little discussion. But maybe we might need to change a little bit of UI and UX on that. But yeah, I think that's about it.
May I ask a question?
Yep.
For the notable groups minted, is that only picking up wallets that hold the notable group asset in the same wallet that they're minting from?
Yeah, right now, yeah, that is correct. But as we have like built the algorithm for finding the clustered wallets, we are thinking of implementing that to the notable groups as well. Because like, yeah, I do realize that a lot of people just have like Bored Apes in their vaults and they don't like mint from those wallets. So we need to find better ways to show
Right.
like the real mints.
And just in brief, how does that clustering work?
So we try to right now the algorithm that we use is that we check we tick as a like a linked wallet if there are more than three transactions coming back and forth between those wallets.
Got it. Thank you.
It could be either like ETH or it could be like what is that? The NFTs, and we are counting some like the smart contracts that distributes ETH between them as well. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the amazing demo. I actually learned about a couple neat features that I had no clue on. I didn't know that it actually went that low. Usually I just stay at the top trying to mint something. So yeah, I think it's time we start diving into some of these questions as we get close to the end. I see that we got good old Mitch, the Jimmyest Jim, with two questions. What inspired you to create Catchment?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it briefly, but it was most of my experience trading and talking to the people in voice chat and like in and through Discord. So like a lot of product ideas and insight are from MVHQ and from Discord and talking to the people who are just like me, trading NFTs. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think we also answered how did you find effective product market fit as well earlier on. I see that we have another question by Scott Co. Catchment is already my homepage. Do you have any plans on adding a news feed, which you just went through, and marketplace data on volume? That's an interesting one.
Yeah, so regarding the newsfeed, we might. This is something that I want to like ask you guys as well. So right now, we have like these three like vertical like sections right in the middle. Would it make sense if we added like more vertical sections, maybe like TweetDeck? Maybe you can, But the problem right now is that the UI, the screen is fixed, and it is not like so everyone's screen share is fixed, and we can't fit everything into one screen. So right now there are two options. We might have like other tabs, but might make it more plausible with our notifications to. So if something's updated in another tab, we might have to find better ways to notify people that there is some updated content and new content in the other tabs. Or the other way that was the first option, and the other thing is what if we make it more like a TweetDeck where you can have like many different like vertical sections, but you can customize the settings in the middle. So if you go, if I'm not sure if how many of you have used TweetDeck, but if you have, then you can set up like maybe 5 to 6 different vertical settings, and maybe like you can only like maybe 3 or 4 fits into one screen, but you can like scroll like horizontally, not vertically, to see the next like the section. So that is like 2 of the product ideas that we have on like the newsfeed, and maybe if we are to add like the data on the market volume, does that mean secondary, Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, we might add some like volume as well, but like I said, we are there are a lot of like features that we want to build right now, but we thought about it, but this is something that I think the secondary like players can do better, so we're not specifically like really focused on that, but just showing the volume, my volume is probably like the gray area that where we want to hit on, but we don't want to go into like showing the graphs and analytics, like the, what do you call that, the graph, is that it? So
Yeah, charts.
yeah, we don't want to build charts, but maybe like the showing the numbers on the volume might make sense.
Yeah, I think showing volume on a project that you're currently minting out, it would just be a great indicator so that you wouldn't even have to leave catchment to see whether that's picking up steam before it even mints out, right? Or like as it's minting out, you could see that there's some volume coming in with it. But I agree. I mean, it could be in the form of customization through TweetDeck. Maybe the live mints tab is cut in half, and you could just maybe the mints come in slower. You could go many routes through it. But yeah, I think that would be a great addition to Catchment as well.
Thank you. Cool. I need to edit.
Another thing that we have down here is, will Catchment ever drop a token?
uh, yeah, so we're thinking about it, but it could be like NFT. I don't think we'll be like fully gate catchment, like as most of other platforms. I think like AlphaShark is going fully gated with their tokens, right? Maybe next week or something, in a few days. I don't think we're going to go that route, but I don't know. We might. This is something we haven't like really have fixed ideas on, but at some point we might try to monetize, but there could be so many like different monetizing strategies, but we don't want to be like super extractive, and maybe we could do some like freemium where we provide some like extra features. For example, like right now we're trying to add like gas suggestion, where if you click on the mint, there's going to be like 2 or 3 other like boxes where if you click on, like, for example, there will be probably like 3 boxes. One is like the normal mint, as like it is right now, and the other 2 boxes will be like next block or within 2 or 3 blocks. So that will be giving you a optimized gas suggestions based on your target, how fast you're trying to get it mined. So you can still. So the idea is that you don't want to waste too much of your gas and still be able to get it transacted within a reasonable time. So that we might roll that out as a freemium if you want to go like subscription route. But I don't know. We're not really fully decided on that yet. But even if we launch tokens, I don't think it's going to be a fully gated NFT tokens. Maybe like use NFTs to get access to a collection of premium, like a premium features like the gas suggestions, and maybe like customizable like Discord webhook and those kind of things.
So you're saying if you were to go the token gated way, you would have either a subscription basis or NFTs, or maybe both, right? You could have maybe a lifetime token to the premium features, as well as a subscription for anybody that wants to roll on and off of that type of feature.
No, no. It's not. So,
I'm asking the question. I wasn't saying
yeah,
that you're doing
no,
that.
no, yeah. So, no, I don't think if we like go NFTs, we will like do NFTs and subscription. So it could be like subscription like Nerds. That would be like one option. But we don't want to like gatekeep our core features because we still want like us to be accessible, and most of the people who don't there are like different types of users, right? So some of us are like really hardcore users, and there might be some like retail like traders who are just trying to find one interesting NFTs. So we want to keep like our core experience, for example, like coming to Catch Mint, finding interesting mint, and being able to see what others are minting and mint. We want to keep that free. Uh, but there will be some like some interesting like nice there features like gas suggestions, customizable Discord webhooks based on a lot of like different triggers. That might be some area that we can think of as a premium feature. And if we roll those out as premium, there could be two options. One would be like the subscription like NFT Nerds, but for the free premium, while keeping most of our features there for free. The other one would be NFTs. It could be lifetime, or it could be like a 1 year NFT like MGHQ or Underground. But basically, we don't want to like fully gate all of our feature set. Whether or not it's going to be a subscription or NFTs is going to be regarding those like extra premium features that will be gated. But we're not sure, so that is something that we need to do a little bit more research on.
I hear that. I mean, it's speculation till it isn't, right? Moving on to Mindful's question. Knowing what you know now, what would you do differently starting in terms of product, hiring, or something in between there?
Hey, long time no see. It's nice to see all these familiar names coming back. How have you been? So yeah, me and Michael actually shared a room when we were in NFT LA. So we are like roommates.
I love that.
Yeah. So going back, product hiring. Yeah. So hiring, we don't have a designer. So if we had a like full-time designer working with us, things might have been a lot quicker. Product, I would say, yeah. So product, I think right at the beginning we were focused on, so we weren't really like super optimized in terms of prioritizing what features we were going to build. So it is still the case right now. We are getting a lot of feedback from our users through Discord, through just like talking with people from MBHQ and other alpha groups, or even Twitter. But right at the start, we were just focused on like shipping things that people asked first. So we weren't really doing a lot of prioritizing. But we right now we have devised our own way of prioritizing, which is three criteria for deciding on what to. First is how fast we can ship that feature, and the second is how much of an impact it's going to have on our end users. And the third part is probably something that I want to really say it loud to builders in this space, is that how much is going to help your product become really like valuable and defensible in the long run. So those kind of three like criteria is what we are making those decisions on. But right at the start, we didn't have those like set of rules. So maybe if we had that, then we might have been able to roll out features that are more like important to our users. But for example, like the pinning thing on the right, I don't think a lot of people use that, but somebody asked for that, so we decided to ship it anyways. But that is something I think we could still have waited, and instead I focus on other things.
Yeah, that was great insight. I mean, even from just seeing, like, from working with so many different teams, a lot of them don't think about longevity, right? They focus on the here and now and the small features that, they might be basic features, but they definitely help a lot of traders. Um, but they can overly be shadowed by somebody else that comes in the market, right? You got to make sure that you're differentiating yourself while still being very competitive. So
Yeah.
moving along to our next Scottco is on fire over here. He's suggesting some ideas maybe for the premium features. Another one would be notifications when specific traders mint a drop, and ability to mint multiple directly from chat from catchment instead of an intermediary bot. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the specific traders that is definitely our like roadmap. We are definitely trying to add those traders. So we want like the experience on catchment, collaborative and kind of social. So you will be able to build a list of like traders that you follow. Maybe you can try to share them. So there's kind of something along those lines. But we are definitely thinking about building that and having that integrated. But the last part, like I said, we don't have any plans to go into like minting, like automation, like territory because they are already like well established players out there, and we want to respect them, and we don't want to like fight them. We want, like I said, we want to collaborate with them. Not we don't want to like have conflicts with them. So the we probably won't be building like the mass minting bots ourselves within catchment, and we want to respect the other guys, and they have spent a much more time on building those tools. So at the end of the day, they should be much better. Like even if we started working on this, they should be like much better at building those bots. So I really advise our users to go and try out different like bots out there that are integrated with catchment, and if you find something that you like, try using them, because we won't be providing. We don't see ourselves doing that in the future.
I respect that. You got to know where your strengths are and what battles to pick. And I think you guys are doing a great decision, focusing on what you guys are experts at. I'm definitely excited to see some of these features roll out, especially maybe some customization features. The platform's addictive. I love it. I love that I learned a couple different things. Yeah, if you're listening in, make sure to scroll all the way down on the center column. There's a lot more info that you may have not known. For example, like instead of shifting through collection or through marketplaces, you can easily see how much percentage on royalties they have just by scrolling to the bottom. So, a little insight I would definitely recommend. Um, I just want
You
to say
can,
thank.
yeah, you
Oh,
can actually customize the ordering of those sections. Let me do a quick demo. Can you see it? So if you go to settings, you can if you don't like can you hear me?
yep, we hear you and we see the stream.
Yep. If you don't like a section, you can change the ordering, and if you don't like it, you can hide it. Or if you think like what was that? The marketplace royalties are important to you, you can move it up here like this. So you can customize the ordering and how it looks. So and we are adding like some profiles. So I think we just rolled it out yesterday, the karma thing. So what we want to do is that maybe a little like just 30 seconds on the discussion part. So the way we want like these discussions and the comments things pan out is that we don't want it to like replace Discord, like where you chat with your people. If it's a chat, then it could be some random things, but we want this section to be very specific to the minting and useful information. For example, if like the creator is a serial rugger and he created X like three different projects, and maybe if people want to tag those projects, those kind of important like informations that is difficult to find, but that is very useful when you're trying to make the decision. So we want to really incentivize people to do that, share those meaningful information. So when we like rolled out the comments feature a couple of like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, we didn't have any moderations. So like most of the comments were a lot of like garbage. So we had a lot of like F words, profanity, and people were posting some like I didn't even know it was possible. People were posting pictures of penis with ASCII codes and those kind of things. So we had to pull it down, and we have like some of the very like basic moderation features where you filter out profanity, and if somebody's sharing unevidenced FUD, we can ban that person for an hour and those kind of thing. So now that we have those moderations, we really want to incentivize people to share meaningful information. For example, there was I don't remember the name of the collection, but if you go like some other like collections, people are starting to share those kind of information. For example, I've seen some people like sharing information about the creator got the money from dispersed startup, or the creator minted like 2,000 to himself, or the creator created this is art that is stolen from the other collection on OpenSea, and those kind of information. And you can actually upvote it here. I didn't have the username in this wallet, but you can upvote it, and if a comment gets upvoted, it moves up the hierarchy of the list of comments. So in the end, maybe in our next or the one after release, what we want to do is that we want to show only the top 3 comments, and maybe if you want to see more, you can click on load to expand and unfold the list of comments. So that way you will only be exposed to the real meaningful comments that people like. So that's the way we want these comments to be.
When do I stop learning? This is amazing, man. You always think that you know the platform because you're using it every day, but it's very nice and refreshing to learn new features that you guys are just sneaking in and implementing, that we might have not known, right? Like I mentioned, I think that the royalties feature is something nice because I see constantly people mentioning, if there's a percentage on X2, Y2 for a collection that currently minted out, right? Having that feature towards the top, you don't have to bounce from collection to collection to check, right? Like you could just immediately just bounce to that specific marketplace and just list whatever you need to list, right? If that's the route you want to take.
Maybe if that was that useful, I didn't realize that, but if people were liking that enough, then maybe we should have it in, up here or something, because if people are fine. So the way we want the marketplace comparison to evolve into is that it should be really customized to individual mints. So if you mint it, the break-even listing should be really different depending on how many you've minted and what gas you used. So it should be customizable for individual wallets. So maybe in the future we'll work on that.
So does it say? Let's say that this collection is restricted on Blur. Will it notify you that?
Oh no, this is what I talked about, product feedback. This is something that none of us have talked about up until now, and this is the first time that I've heard this. And right as I'm hearing this, I think this is a very cool feature. I'm definitely gonna address this with our team in our next sprint.
Yeah, I would definitely take a poll on how people are interacting with some of these features, maybe like what they prefer to use as they're minting. Because yeah, I mean, I had no idea that was a feature, but I love the notable groups, right? Like I could just tell when somebody from VHQ is going hard on something, and lets me check back in Discord, all that good stuff. But yeah, I mean, incredible platform. thank you again for your time. And thank you all for coming.
Yeah, thank you. Like I said, MVHQ and the members, everyone here is my sweetheart. I have very fond memories here, and I've made so many friends, not just like the building. So the way I want to see MVHQ and the people here is we're kind of like family. I really feel that way because this is my family in Web3, and yeah, I really want to thank you guys.
Ralle, you know we love you. And as always, to everyone listening, we'll see you on the blockchain.
Thank you.
Take care.